Kristi Noem is so bad at her job that even Donald Trump has had enough of her. Now, let me make myself very clear. Donald Trump is not upset with Kristi Noem because 2 Americans have been murdered in the streets of Minneapolis. He is upset because of the political reality it has created, one in which ICE's unpopularity is surging. People are furious with an agency that should be and will be abolished. And that is why Donald Trump is furious with Noem, and that is why he is replacing her in Minnesota, because he knows that she cannot push a narrative. She is a hack, she is a sycophant, and she has failed. And it's not just me who believes that, it is the DHS agents themselves. It is officials within the Trump administration. And it's coming out before we get into the announcement that Donald Trump just made, throwing Kristi Noem under the bus and replacing her in Minnesota. Journalist Bill Malugin reports, new, since yesterday's deadly shooting in Minnesota, I've talked to more than half a dozen federal sources involved in immigration enforcement, including several in senior positions, who all tell me they have grown increasingly uneasy and frustrated with some of the claims and narratives DHS pushed in the aftermath of the shooting. Specifically, I'm told there is extreme frustration with DHS officials going on TV and putting out statements claiming that Alex Preddy was intending to conduct a massacre of federal agents or wanted to carry out maximum damage, even after numerous videos appeared to show those claims were inaccurate. While they say it was a terrible decision to show up with a gun and inject himself into a federal law enforcement operation, there is no indication Preddy was there to murder law enforcement. As videos appear to show, he never drew his holstered firearm. These sources say this messaging from DHS officials has been catastrophic from a PR and morale perspective, as it's eroding trust and credibility, comparing it to when Democrats falsely claimed the border was closed or that Haitians were being whipped at the border. Some of these sources have described DHS's response to the shooting as a case study on how to not do crisis PR. One said they are so fed up that they wish they could retire. Another said DHS is making the situation worse. And another added that DHS is wrong, and we are losing this war. We are losing the base and the narrative. These sources all believe this is going to end up being what they call a bad shoot, a shitty situation that happened in seconds where agents likely heard gun, then the disarmed firearm may have had an accidental discharge that spooked the agents, and they shot. The agents do not have the luxury of multiple slow motion angles and had to make split-second decisions. All of the sources support the mass deportation agenda, but have serious hesitations about the way it is being carried out and the messaging that comes with it. Many of the sources have expressed frustration that ICE is routinely blamed for the action of Border Patrol, a completely separate agency. Now, I want to start by saying that that report came from a Fox reporter, so that goes to show how bad it's gotten. It also explains some of the defense of ICE and attacks of Democrats in that tweet and that reporting, but this is how bad that it's gotten. There is a civil war within DHS, and they are furious with Kristi Noem because she has lost the messaging battle. It also goes to show how depraved these people are, that they see 2 Americans dead and go, wow, that's really bad PR for us. We really got to work on this PR campaign. But even Donald Trump is admitting, or I guess I should say, not admitting or sharing support for Kristi Noem when he's pressed on the PR side of this, and it's what happened right before Donald Trump posted his announcement that Kristi's done in Minnesota. Even Trump refuses to back Ice Barbie's shooting claims as fury boils over. Donald Trump has refused to back Kristi Noem's claim that the shooting of nurse Alex Preddy was justified, as DHS officials reportedly turned on the Homeland Security Secretary. In an interview with the Wall Street Journal, Trump, 79, repeatedly declined to say whether the border agent who killed Preddy in Minneapolis on Saturday had done the right thing. Of course, Donald Trump isn't going to say, because he knows, and they all know, it was a murder, it was a state execution. But the worst thing is for Trump that they didn't believe that they would have the camera angles to prove that when he initially said that Alex Preddy was a deranged domestic terrorist, when Kristi Noem made that claim. Hell, Stephen Miller said he was there to assassinate federal officials, and J.D. Vance retweeted it. And never forget that. When J.D. Vance is running for president, we're going to bring that up every single day. But they did it because they thought that they didn't have camera angles that could disprove it, that it would be a kind of a blurry first video, even though that first video proved everything we needed to know. And they thought that they'd get away with this. But yes, they are losing the PR battle. They only care about PR. They only care about how it looks to their base. But it's why Donald Trump is changing the PR with this post right here. Trump wrote, I am sending Tom Homan to Minnesota tonight. He has not been involved in that area, but knows and likes many of the people there. Tom is tough but fair and will report directly to me. Trump continues, separately, a major investigation is going on with respect to the massive $20 billion plus welfare fraud that has taken place in Minnesota and is at least partially responsible for the violent organized protest going on in the streets. Additionally, the DOJ and Congress are looking at Congresswoman, I don't know why that's in quotes, Ilhan Omar, who left Somalia with nothing and is now reportedly worth more than $44 million. Time will tell all. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President DJT. So Kristi Noem has been replaced. She is no longer in charge in Minnesota. She is no longer in charge in Minneapolis. And although she still has her job, I'd say sending in Tom Homan to rectify your screw-ups is a pretty bad look. And it's not like Tom Homan is going to do anything better. Tom Homan isn't going to act with more care. Tom Homan doesn't want to stop the cruelty that's being carried out. Again, this isn't the point. Donald Trump isn't mad at Kristi Noem because 2 people are dead. If that was the case, he wouldn't be sending in Tom Homan, who's a thug himself. Donald Trump is mad because this is bad PR for him. That is why he has replaced Kristi Noem, because he doesn't want her going on TV anymore. He doesn't want her answering for what is happening in Minneapolis. So Donald Trump swapped her out with Tom Homan, and he thinks that's going to solve everything. Tom Homan, the man who talks like he has marbles in his mouth constantly, Donald Trump says is a better person to represent this administration on television than Kristi Noem. That is how bad of a job that she has done in the eyes of not just us, but everyone in this administration, that Donald Trump would replace her in Minnesota 48 hours after she decided she was going to announce a VA nurse was a domestic terrorist. And again, I have to make the point because it's so important. They did so because they didn't think that there would be enough camera angles to disprove them. We had that first video, and in that first video, we could see that ICE ripped the man's gun away. They ripped Alex Preddy's gun away. They shot him while he was lying on the ground. But what we hadn't seen before, or what we didn't see enough of, was the reason that he was there, protecting a woman who was being beaten. He wasn't showing up to cause trouble. He wasn't resisting arrest. But Donald Trump and Kristi Noem thought that that video wouldn't come out. They thought it wouldn't come out. Now, we would have taken eyewitness accounts after an investigation, which Donald Trump is already trying to block, and eventually we would have gotten to this point. And also, I think we can believe with absolute certainty, before seeing a complete footage, that ICE is usually going to be, is always in the wrong on these things. But Donald Trump and Kristi Noem believed, so did J.D. Vance and Stephen Miller, that we wouldn't be able to disprove their narrative, that if they jumped in first, they would be able to set the conversation, and none of the footage would matter. And maybe there wouldn't be more footage. That's what they're banking on. They're banking on us not recording their crimes. They're banking on us not being able to share that. And it's why the sale of TikTok 4 days ago is so important. Because my friends who are active on there, and I deleted TikTok, and we should boycott TikTok. It is owned by Larry Ellison and a bunch of Zionist billionaires who want to cover up not just the crimes that this administration is committing, but all of the crimes of the Israeli government, the genocide they're carrying out. But TikTok is actively deleting any video of Alex Preddy. All of it. They want to wipe it, because that's what Donald Trump needs to happen. He needs us to not be able to see the evidence of the crimes of this administration. That is what they need. They need it to be, they need us to stop recording, which is why they killed a man for recording, by the way, because they want us to be scared. And we saw that clip as well of a woman recording ICE. And they said, oh, now you're going on a terrorist watch list. What? They are terrified of us filming because they're afraid of accountability. It's why they walk around with masks on their face. And it's why we need to make it clear to them that there is accountability coming. And we need to start using those words. We need to start talking about prison. We need to start talking about being hauled before Congress. We need to start talking about what Eric Swalwell is talking about. Losing your driver's license, being banned for working for the government in his campaign for governor of California. Like, we need to start speaking in those terms. Tim Walz certainly did here.
And then you heard the most powerful people in the world, certainly in this country, President, Vice President, Greg Bovino, Kristi Noem, narrate to you what you were looking at, that this was a domestic terrorist, crazed, running at law enforcement with the intent to kill massive numbers of them, sullying his name within minutes of this event happening, and then closing the crime scene, sweeping away the evidence, defying a court order, and not allowing anyone to look at it. I don't care if you are conservative and you are flying a Donald Trump flag, you're a libertarian, don't tread on me, you're a democratic socialist of America. This is an inflection point, America. If we cannot all agree that the smearing of an American citizen and besmirching everything they stood for and asking us not to believe what we saw, I don't know what else to tell you. This has to be the moment. Your government, here in Minnesota, I've made it clear, I'm accountable for things that happen here, and I will take responsibility for that. Someone has to be accountable. Someone has to hold the final decision on this. And sitting behind a keyboard at 2 a.m. and besmirching a VA nurse and a son and a coworker and a friend is despicable beyond all description. This is not, we need to see both sides. This is not, we need to wait for this. This is basic human decency. And at this point in time, I'm just asking, try for a moment to set aside the political side of it and go back and ground in the humanity of this. This family has gone through enough, and to have the most powerful men in the world drag their dead son with absolutely no evidence and gaslight the entire country, this is enough. And I would say, President Trump, you can end this today. Pull these folks back. Do humane, focused, effective immigration control.
Intimidation is clearly the only language that these people understand, so we have to hit them back with it. That is the only thing that we can do. We have to hit them back. And we are going to do so in the way that we talk about this, in the way that we push Democrats on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. If you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Keep on fighting, y'all. Don't let them silence you. And until next time, I'll see you soon.